if you are in this phase where you're like, I am working out, I'm doing all the things, you might be in your 40s, even your late 30s, your early 50s, your mid 50s, and you're like, I'm doing all of these things and I'm frustrated that I don't look fit. I urge you. That is a real transformation. That is my transformation that I had over a year and a half period in my mid 40s. And I was doing all of the things. I was always really into fitness when I was in my 30s. I did fitness competitions, bodybuilding competitions. I wasn't so good at them, but I was in decent shape. And then I started gaining weight 2018, 2019, started putting on some weight. I was in my early 40s and then the pandemic hit. And I remember March 13th, 2020, I was working as a dean and a professor at a university, and I was just in this rat race. I was in this rat race. And I remember walking out when they sent us home. It was like 2 o'clock that day. They sent us home and I like said out loud under my breath, I'm so glad this is over. And what this was, it was just this like this rat race, this constantly running from one thing to the next and chasing this like super rigid lifestyle. And I was up at 5 o'clock every single day, meal prepping all of the time, eating all my meals when I was supposed to be eating, and you're going to meetings, and I was shooting up the career ladder. I was doing all of the things that I thought I should be doing. And on March 13th, 2020, I just said, I'm so glad this is all over. And so what happened was between 2020 and 2021, 2022 into 2023, I started gaining weight. I continued to gain weight, I should say. And I was one of those during the pandemic. There's a lot of people that they're like, oh, I'm going to work out all the time and I can work out whenever I want. I got to set up this nice home gym. I had set up a nice home gym. I already had a really decent home gym to begin with. I added more equipment to it. You can see I've got a pretty good yoga studio set up here. I've got weights over here that you can't even see on camera. Got a whole bunch of stuff. But I was one of those, it's 4 o'clock. It is happy hour. And so I would drink my wine, and I had the little containers at Costco that have the nuts and the caramel and the coconut and the chocolate, and they're all like goodness. And you swipe a handful of those, and that's 150 calories. And you do that 6, 7, 8 times a day. And before you know it, I was 60 pounds overweight. And I never stopped working out. I was always in this like active lifestyle, but I was gaining weight. I was in my 40s and it was like the weight kept coming on. And I've always tracked my weight. I use my Fitness Pal. I use another app right now as well called Carbon Diet Coach, but I've tracked my weight since 2013. And I can see this just like slow progression. It wasn't like I gained 40 pounds in 6 months. It was 3 pounds here, 5 pounds there, 8 pounds here, 2 pounds there. It was just like this slow progression over time. And before you know, 60 pounds overweight, needed to lose weight. I wasn't even in this, I want to lose weight mode. It was really more, okay, I'm in my 40s. This is just how it is now. I still want to be active. I still want to do all the things. And I broke my leg in 2023, January 2023. I was hiking and I had to be airlifted off of a mountain. I was the heaviest I had ever been. I had just hiked a rim to rim in the Grand Canyon. It's 24 miles in one day. And I was in the best shape of my life, but I was also the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And so my point here is that you see this transformation photo of my back. It's not anything to do with working out. I had been working out. It was my lifestyle, 100% my lifestyle. And so when I really started focusing in on the other stuff outside of the gym, outside of the hiking, outside of the yoga, outside of the weightlifting, and all this stuff that I was doing either in the gym, at home, wherever it is, it was really focusing in on the other 23 hours of the day. So if you work out an hour a day, I was not paying any attention to I was doing the other 23 hours of the day. I was drinking every day. I was snacking. I was eating whatever the heck I wanted. In the name of it's healthy, it doesn't matter how much. And so what really shifted for me was paying attention to those other 23 hours in the day. Okay. So when you see this before and after photo, and I don't even like to call it an after photo because I view this as a lifestyle. This is something that I'm going to do the rest of my life now. Is I've got the exercise, the movement, the using my body to do fun things. But then there's also the how I'm fueling myself and how I'm recovering. All right. And I think the biggest thing for me is tracking my nutrition and being honest about my nutrition, being honest with myself about what I'm eating and how much of it I'm eating. I can't tell you how many times I thought I was on track. I was going to the gym, doing cardio, eating healthy. I was still eating too much. I was drinking too much alcohol. It was too many calories over a time period, and I was gaining weight. And I can't tell you how many times I thought I was on point, and then I would get on the scale and it would be up. And I'd be like, I'm freaking hungry. Like I'm and I'm doing all this work and the scale's up a pound, the scale's up 2 pounds, the scale's up 3 pounds. Like, what's the point? I might as well go eat pizza. I might as well go eat the chocolate chip cookie ice cream thing that they sell at the golf course by my house that I absolutely love. Right? I might as well go eat that. If I'm gonna gain weight anyways, I might as well have fun doing it, right? That was really very much my mindset. And so I had to have this shift of I really just need to be honest with myself. I need to be honest with myself about what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, and I need to hold myself accountable to it. And that really came from tracking my food. And really how I got started was I had a notebook. I'm a little old school with some of these things. Got a notebook and just started writing down what I was eating every single day. Okay. And then I started using an app. The app really helped me with a little bit more of what I should be eating throughout the day between the proteins, the carbohydrates, the fats, or what we call macronutrients. Really helped me with figuring out, okay, you got your caloric breakdown, but then how do I break down those calories in order to transform my body, in order to really get jacked, get snatched. And it's a work in progress. I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. So I'm sharing it here with you on the YouTubes, just how I'm doing this. Okay. So really getting honest with myself, tracking my nutrition and just getting on point with it. And I'm not perfect at it. I always say about 80% of the time I was on track or I am on track. But as I'm doing a bodybuilding competition, doing another one, as I get closer to that, I need to get closer to 90% accurate, 95, 98% accurate here. But it's really being honest with myself about what I am putting in my mouth. And that is to include sauces and creamer that goes in your coffee and going through the drive-through and grabbing snacks and things that you drink, alcohol. Some of these drinks are just loaded with calories, but it's not always the calories that come with alcohol. Sometimes it's you go out, and I know that I was very much guilty of this, that I would go out, I would have a glass of wine, which would turn into 2 glasses of wine, which would turn into let's order a pizza, let's order this app, let's order this thing. And it was like the ability to have that self-discipline of saying, nope, this is not what I eat, goes away when I'm drinking. And so cutting out alcohol has been a huge a huge shift for me in my body transformation. And I'll say I don't even think I intentionally cut out alcohol. I think it just accidentally happened. And I'm not saying I don't drink alcohol. So if you see me having a glass of wine, don't try to call me out on it. I'm not saying that I've completely quit alcohol, but what I am saying is January of 2023, I did dry January, and it was a little difficult. I went camping with some friends and I didn't drink at all that weekend. And then the weekend after that is the weekend that I broke my leg. This is towards the end of January. And even when I was in the ER, they asked me how much I drank. And I said, I'm doing dry January right now, so I haven't drank in a month. And they were like, okay, they put me down as non-drinker. And I was like, oh, I'd never really identified as being a non-drinker. So I did dry January in January of 2023. I picked it up again. It wasn't like pandemic stuff. It wasn't like 4 o'clock happy hour every single day, but I really like wine. Just have my glass of wine here and there. January of 2024, I did dry January again. A little bit easier this time around. And then I did it in January 2025. And in January 2025, when I did it, I just kept going with it. I had a few drinks on vacation over the summer and then did my competition in November of 2025. Didn't really drink hardly at all that year. I think in 2025, I can count on one hand the number of drinks that I had. I had a glass of wine at Christmas. And then when I was in Wisconsin visiting family, I was at a restaurant. They had a hard cider there that I wanted to try. So I tried that. But that's why I say I think I accidentally quit drinking. I don't know. But that has really opened my eyes to how much that has contributed to my body transformation is paying attention to everything that is going in my mouth, to include alcohol. Okay. So really getting honest with myself, tracking my food, and paying attention to how much alcohol I was drinking. I think at this age, I'm 48 years old right now. Take body transformation goals out of it. Take wanting to look fit, wanting to get snatched, wanting to get fit AF. Take all of that out of the equation. Every time I was drinking, every time I would even have a glass of wine, I would sleep like shit and then the next day I would feel like crap. And then when you feel like crap, like you're just like, I want high carb, high fat foods. And so I was eating the wrong foods for how I want my body to look. And the way I want my body to look, I know I need to jack up the protein. Okay. I would sleep like crap. I would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning with heartburn, hot flashes. It just got to a point where it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I think that if you are in this phase of life where you're just like, I'm working out, I'm doing the work. Why don't I look like it? Why don't I look snatched? Why don't I look jacked? Why don't I look muscular? Why don't I have sculpted arms? Why don't I have those? I will urge you to just take a week. Just take a week and track everything that goes in your mouth. Okay? I'm talking literally everything: creams, sauces, creamers that you put in your coffee, anything that you dabble on your food, any kind of drinks that you have. And like I said, it's not wine. You have a glass of wine. You might have a vodka and soda. Vodka and soda is pretty decent in calories, but it's all the other stuff that comes around it. You feel like crap. You feel like crap for a day. You feel like crap for 2 days. So you eat. Like, I would just really urge you to just track what you're doing for a week. And that's going to really open up your eyes to see maybe some of the things that you might want to work on. It could be the endless snacking. I work from home since March 13th, 2020. I have worked from home. And once I started tracking my food, that's when I realized, like, endless access to snacks is not conducive to my body fitness goals. Okay. It's too easy to just go over to the cupboard and grab something than to make a chicken breast and make some vegetables to go with it. It was a lot easier than that. And you might say, then just don't keep that kind of stuff in the house. That's easier said than done. You've got other people that live in the house. You can't tell them they can't have their things. So it really just opened up my eyes to how much of nutrition, proper hydration, getting good sleep and getting that recovery is really, it's the foundation of a body transformation. Okay. So if you are in this phase where you're like, I am working out, I'm doing all the things, you might be in your 40s, even your late 30s. You could be in your early 50s, your mid 50s, and you're like, I'm doing all of these things and I'm frustrated that I don't look fit. I urge you, take a look at your nutrition, take a look at your hydration, take a look at the kind of sleep that you're getting, take a look at the things that are maybe impacting your sleep. Okay. So if you are on a healthy lifestyle fitness journey, I do run a 365 days body transformation challenge. I call it Operation Fit AF. AF stands for what you think it stands for. And this is where we have a community of women who are just on their own personal body transformation journeys. Okay, so we have people who've lost weight. We have a woman in her 70s that has lost over 30 pounds. We got somebody that's quit smoking. We've got people that have just gotten jacked, like people that they've lost weight and now they want to look super fit, right? They want to look a certain way. We've got people that are doing all sorts of things. We've got people that are training for 10Ks and marathons, things like that. So this is a community of women who are on their own body transformation journey. It's a 365 days challenge. You get access to some resources in my app. You get access to some workouts. You get access to my recipe book. You get access to, we do 2 live sessions each month. And if you can't make it live, you get access to the recordings. It's really just this community of women there to support you on your body transformation journey. So whatever that might look like for you, it might not be weight loss. You might be like, I'm good. I've lost the weight already. I'm still on this journey of getting fit. And I want this community of people to support me. And I want to help support them as well. So if you're interested, if you want to check it out, you can go to operationfitaf.com. It's got all of the information on that website there. You can check that out. You can also get access to a free tier of my app. So I have the FitFlow 365 app. If you go to heathermonty.com/free, you'll get access to a 7-day Get Fit AF Kickstart guide. You get access to a yoga kickstart guide. And then you also get access to a recipe book. It's 5 ingredient recipes, 40 of them. And then also a How to Eat for Strength and Longevity PDF. You get all of those resources in the FitFlow 365 app. So you can go to heathermonty.com/free, totally free. You can check it out. If you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and send this video to somebody who you think might find it helpful. I'll talk to you soon.